All right, family, welcome in. This is episode 3 of my Wealth Code series. I hope you're appreciating the breakdown. In today's episode, we are going to break down how money is energy. All right, that's all it is. And we're going to work on that concept. I'm going to teach you the foundational points of why that makes sense and how to implement that. So, that being said, when we think about this conversation, usually there's two words that come up, right? There is money, right? But then currency. Those two words, those are the most common words that come up when we have these kind of conversations. So let's define them, right? Let's define those two words because they're not the same. So with just a real quick Google search, and you can do this on your own, but just to save the time, I've already done it and I'm going to work through it. So money, if you just search, let's define money on Google, what you will see is a current medium of exchange in the form of coins and banknotes. Let's do the same thing. Let's define currency on Google. A system of money in general use in a particular country. A system of money, right? So you have the definition of money, which is the current medium of exchange in the form of coins or banknotes, and you have currency being the system. So in other words, the currency is the full system. The money is the tool of the system. It's not the actual system. It's just a tool. I'm sitting there for a reason. I want you to really think through how your relationship with money is and how you view it. I gotta go get the bag. I gotta go get money. But you're going to get the tool of the system. That's fine, but do you really understand the system and how it works? To understand the system, let's break it down further. Let's look at the etymology of the word currency, which it comes from the word current. So if you just again Google etymology of current, you're going to get the information that is defined as to run or to move quickly. That's the etymology of the word current. But let's not stop there. Let's think about how you likely have heard the word current used. For example, when I hear current, I think of like a river flow, a flow of air, or electricity, right? If you have anything to do with electricians and doing outlets and all that, they talk about the current. So at base level, the system is designed to flow or move quickly, to not be stagnant, to flow, have some sort of current running through it. That's what the system is about, right? So in essence, money's not meant to be stagnant, but we'll dive into that a little later. Let's move on. Another pillar or base foundation that we got to define and make sure we're on the same page about is energetic exchange. And effectively, what I'm trying to get you to see is that every single transaction is an energetic exchange of energy and value. You're exchanging those two things every time you do a transaction, right? When we buy something, we're transferring energy that we've earned into something else that we value, right? So again, money is not supposed to be stagnant, it's supposed to be dynamic or move or flow. And just to make sure we all on the same page, let's make it a real life example. I got a big family. We all love get-togethers, birthdays, etc. So, like for example, we'll go out to breakfast for somebody's birthday. So if we go get breakfast with our family, we have to transfer the energy that we've saved or stored up in order to transact and receive the breakfast. And we got to transfer our energy to these people that have made our breakfast and that service us, right? That's an energetic exchange, but that's across anything that you go do and transact with, right? Energy exchange. So if we're on the same page, every time that you're paying for something, buying something, it's all based around that foundation of energy exchange. So moving on, it's important to understand that forms of currency will change, right? Remember we talked about currency already. That system, so that system will change. Like in today's world, right? If you're from the US like I am, we have the US dollar, we have cash. Um, Before that, in other societies, there were coins, right? And before that, societies bartered. And if you're not familiar with the term of bartering, that's okay. I got you. Real quick breakdown. Let's say if I got a bunch of fruit trees that I've grown, so apple trees, guava trees, mangoes, whatever, and I go barter or trade that with somebody that has chickens or that knows how to bake bread, whatever that is, we trade. It's a barter. It's just a direct trade. The difference is there's no middleman. We just going direct from me to you when we trade, and that's it. But that is though our energetic exchange, right? So no matter what system we go to, you can look at any currency system or monetary system, whatever you want to say. It's all rooted in the base principle of the energy exchange. You can't get around it. All right. Soon everything's going to be digital as far as currency or money, but we'll get there. That's the next video. I'm trying to get you to see that don't worry about what system they change to. None of that matters. Do you understand that energy exchange is how all of this is rooted? And so I'll sum it up. I'll conclude with this. If we can accept that money is energy, we then have to look at our world and realize energy is abundant. Energy is everywhere. So if we look at money, yeah, that's scarce, but energy is not. Energy is not scarce at all. Sure, some people will tell you that, but it's really not if you really look with a fine, clean lens around what energy is, because energy is everywhere. And let me read this quote to you. This is the law of conservation of energy. If you know, some of us in school, some of us actually studied, some of us took naps, some of us simply weren't fortunate to go to a quality school. Don't matter, I got you. The law of conservation of energy is something hopefully you've been taught. If not, I'm going to tell you what it is now. It is a law that says energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only change forms or be transferred from one form to another. That's the law. We can't create it nor destroy it. So if energy can't be created nor destroyed, that by definition has to mean it's abundant, right? It has to mean it's out there and you can't create it nor destroy it. It's just there. It just exists. No matter how smart people think they are and human beings think they are and all this, energy is out there. Most importantly for this, though, what I want you to see is that nothing about the system, which is the currency, right? Remember, that's the system, currency system. Nothing about the system matters until you learn the base layer of how life works, which is energy. It don't matter if we on the digital system, the cash system, the bartering system. None of that matters if you don't simply understand that energy exchange is how we trade with each other, how we do things with each other. It's a very base principle. Then you can learn about the system. Then you can worry about how the system that we've designed around that concept works, right? But if you don't understand that base concept, how can you ever really make wealth, ever really have wealth? Now you see the connection to these wealth codes. What I want you to really take away from this video is that energy is abundant. If you go just work a job, of course your energy is stagnant. Of course your income and your wealth is stagnant because you're not operating in your energy, in your abundance. What is it that you provide energetically to all of us that is profound, that is amazing, that is important? Not just working somewhere just to get a paycheck. That ain't what we're doing over here to create wealth and abundance. You can do it, but then don't say that you want wealth and abundance. You're not operating in alignment with the system of currency. Remember, at the very beginning, we talked about how it flows. From the very beginning, that's what it's supposed to do. So if you're not flowing in your energy, if you're not flowing in your abundance, how unique you are, then how can you expect that wealth? So my call to action to you, very simple. If money is energy, what kind of energy are you circulating every day? All right, think about that. I love y'all. Peace.